Hey guys, and welcome back to A&J Education YouTube channel. In today's video, we're talking about studying psychology for your A-levels. So if you're thinking about psychology A-levels or you're already studying them and want to know a couple of tricks on how to do really well, keep watching because we've got a very special video for you today. Right, so with us today in the studio is Maddie. Hi, Maddie.
Hi. Hey.
So, Maddie, you did your undergraduate in musicology at Cambridge, followed by MPhil musicology at Oxford, but you actually did, as one of your A-levels, you did psychology. So, why did you pick psychology?
That's a really good question. I suppose I was always interested in why people did the things that they did, how people interacted with each other, and what was going on, bodily, behind the scenes, mentally. That sounds all quite vague, but actually that's kind of what psychology is. People say that it's a social science, and that's often kind of a stigmatized term, but actually I think it's pretty accurate to what it is. It's very multidisciplinary. There are lots of different ways that you can go about psychology, so many different areas. And yeah, I was just really interested in why people worked in the way that they did and what was going on behind the eyes.
So do you find that psychology is useful to you beyond just getting a grade that helps you get into university?
Definitely. I'm doing music psychology as part of my MPhil now, so I'm looking at so music psychology is the psychology of music. Sounds obvious, but takes a little bit of explanation. So in that sense, I've definitely immediately benefited from doing psychology A-level, definitely. And I think there's so many practical ways that you can kind of implement psychology, and that's just in, that's demonstrated in the modules that are available for you. So I did AQA psychology, which is the board, the exam board that I did. And the modules were things like psychopathology, a module on schizophrenia, a module on addiction, attachment styles, relationships, and all of these things are, I think, things that we can apply to daily life. Maybe not the schizophrenia one necessarily, but relationships and things like that. Looking at addiction and stuff like that. I think it's all really useful information. So even in that sense, just from face value, psychology was a great A-level to choose for me, definitely.
Cool. And Maddie, in terms of your advice, so if you're a student and you want to do well at psychology A-level, any sort of tips, maybe 2 or 3 tips that you have in terms of how to study, how to get that A star or an A?
Yeah. It sounds really boring, but read the syllabus. Really get stuck into your textbook, because the resources that the exam board give you are the ones that they're going to mark the exams by. So that's a really obvious point, but, the textbook is your totem. It's the one thing that you need.
Yeah, and majority, UK, US systems, in Europe, they teach you not necessarily the broad understanding of the subject. They teach you to pass exams, which is a bit of a stupid system, but it is how it is. So you can literally just memorize everything that's on the syllabus and get 100% on the exam. Exactly.
And with the psychology A-levels, that's kind of also reflected a little bit in the way that the questions are written. So for my exam board, each section started with a little multiple choice question. So even in that way, it's kind of box ticking, do you know the information or not? So I would say that. Although going back to what you said about, the UK and US systems, it is a rote learning system. So, the stuff that they give you, they want you to know. I would say, though, that psychology did push me into thinking sort of beyond the syllabus a little bit as well. Just because all these topics, for me anyway, were so interesting and sort of somehow already so applicable to my life. Even the relationships topic or the attachment styles, or there's a section on disordered eating and behaviors and things like that. And I think for a lot of teenagers especially, that stuff is applicable to your life. So in studying that, I was able to kind of I found interest in it and I wanted to read more. So in that way, I found it broad enough, just, you know, with the textbook and everything, to actually then explore myself. So once I'd got the syllabus and kind of got that down, that actually excited me to, you know, look further. And so I think there is that breadth there, if you want there to be.
So it sounds like psychology is maybe one of the group of A-level subjects that actually can benefit you in a practical way for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. I think so anyway. I think in terms of other tips, try not to sort of overcomplicate it. Psychology can be a quite daunting topic because there is a lot to learn in terms of content. And also, it's just a huge topic anyway. I mean, like how the brain works.
Yeah.
That's huge. How do you even go about answering that kind of thing? So I think in that way, the simplicity of, you know, how it's broken down into sections. There's a bit on research methods, which is more about how you would conduct experiments and things like that, and ethics and debates and issues surrounding psychology. If you get stuck into that, you'll be able to ground yourself in that, definitely. And then you're kind of free to explore and to not be daunted by the kinds of topics that you might uncover. I think psychology is one of the most honest topics that you can do for A-level. The fact that it is so, applicable to daily life, to people, and to, you know, mental health and also mental disorders and things like that. I think for me anyway, it really opened my eyes to the nuance of all of those things, and definitely gave me more empathy for people who are necessarily, you know, struggling and stuff. So I found it really a great one to do. So I would highly recommend it.
Cool. Well, Maddie, thanks so much for this, you know, for your insight into psychology, and definitely some points you make are very interesting, because I, for example, always just used to think about it as a means to an end. I didn't realize that psychology, you know, can be a very useful A-level way beyond just the academics. So thank you for that. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to our channel. We invest a ton of time and effort into making these videos as useful for you as possible. Maddie, took a multi-hour journey today to come here this morning. There is a whole team behind the camera that are editing and producing these videos. So if you can help us grow our channel by subscribing, we would really appreciate it. But for now, Maddie, thank you very much from all of us. And guys, thank you and take care and all the best.